Alright, it's time for a post-election reality check. Now myself, I really don't have a dog in this race. I'm just standing up here on my observation deck watching all of this go on. And I've been watching it. I don't watch the news, at least not mainstream media. I do catch a lot of thumbnails, headlines, and I might watch a video here or there. And I get a lot of links and people send me stuff and I read comments, and I've tried to keep my radar on the collective from watching it from above, what's going on. I actually understand more of how this place works, and the election itself was a good lesson. Now, to me, I'm just seeing, when it comes to the American election, I'm just seeing two sides of the same coin and trying to take control so that for the future. It's not for now, it's for tomorrow. They want power tomorrow. It's who's calling the shots. What's the narrative going to be? That's the question. And we have one narrative on the left that's just this really woke stuff we've seen, where they want to turn the whole world upside down, just complete chaos, and they feed it to you. It's just a bunch of vegan word salad. They really don't have anything. Mark Twain said, when somebody doesn't have anything intelligent to say, they resort to insult and slander. And that's pretty much been the playbook of the left. Just shame you, guilt you, gaslight you, fear, but they never really had a platform on any issues. It was just a popularity contest to them, an online influencer contest. It was about identity politics. A long time ago, actually it started with Bill Clinton when he went on the Arsenio Hall show and played his saxophone. And suddenly the American people were introduced to, it existed long before, but we were introduced to, in the collective consciousness, the connection between celebrity and politicians, or DC and LA as I call it. And over the years it has grown, and they actually got in the bed with the left. Hollywood got in the bed with the Democrats. And now, decades later, very subtly, very slowly, but it happened. It's a trans thing went on with them, to where now celebrities act like the politicians, telling us how to live, what to think, and pushing the narrative by virtue signaling. Bullshit that we know that none of them are doing what they tell us to do. Then you have the right that is trying to push this American dream. So not only that, when the Democrats got into bed with Hollywood, and Hollywood now thinks they're the politicians, the Democrats have become the celebrities. Politicians have become the celebrities. And they run elections like a popularity contest. It has nothing to do with the issues. If you want issues, you go talk to Hollywood, because they're there for a popularity contest. And that's how they've run it. So it's word salad, hear me, it's word salad, word spell. Okay? Now, the right ran a different campaign. They ran Return to the American Dream. Build Back America Great, whatever that is. Anyway, what they're implying on a symbolic subconscious level, which is how this place is run, they were just putting, everybody wants to go back to sleep. They just want to go back to sleep. They want the American dream. To dream, you must be asleep. And that's what they voted for. Is they would rather be asleep than to actually deal with the chaos that the left is offering, not realizing there's a third option. That those are just two sides of the same coin. It's not really going to solve anything. Now you're going to have this war on the right that's going to be between the flat earthers and the round earthers that are pushing Space Force and go to Mars. And it's just insane. But that's not the play. It's just another kind of control. It's a control system. They control you either by your intellect, your emotions, your hearts, your chakras, your endocrine system. They evoke those chakras within you. Well, it was obvious to me in the beginning that the election would be won, and I've said this many times, by the meme lords. That the collective conscience had moved from sitting in front, everybody in the world sitting in front of this black cube television, to sitting on their phones and in front of a computer. And it was the meme lords. The left lost because they don't know how to meme. The stuff they do, it's not funny, it doesn't get traction, it doesn't go viral, it doesn't become a part of the collective subconscious. But the ones on the right seem to have understood that. And it began really 8 years ago on 4chan and on YouTube, where you were mocking. It's a mocking thing. But they hit the glass ceiling when the majority took over because of what the meme lords were doing. Because it affects you subconsciously. I guess I need to stop for a second, because I got a lot of you newbies on here. So, hold on, let me show you something. I've showed you all this before, but we're going to go over it again. I'll take a minute. Here are 3 truths everyone needs to know. The world is not ruled by words or by laws, but by signs and symbols. Confucius. The universe, nature, our dream state, and our subconscious mind do not communicate in language, but in symbolism, like the elite use in their art. The God of the Old Testament law thought symbols so powerful, so dangerous, that of only 10 laws for man to live by, the second law forbids any graven images, which are signs, symbols, icons, logos, of anything in the earth, in the seas, water, or in the heavens, aka air, because he's a burning bush fire god, alchemy elements of earth, water, fire, and air, heaven. Now with that said, here's how it works. That rainbow flag is upside down. It should mirror the heavenly rainbow, not mimic it. It has, the way it's being used, it has red on top, which is the root chakra for sexuality and emotions. And look at these woke people that carry this. They're 100% all about their sexuality and their feelings. It has purple, the crown, the corona, crown chakra for higher cognitive thinking on the bottom. They have their crowns up their butt. Just flip that flag to purple on top, place it eye level, and say nothing. This is how it works. This is how they use it on television. It works subliminally. Just watch as that upside down energy leaves as subtly as it came in. And I've had many of you tell me, you've done this and it works. The people in your life that were affected by that flag, it started to change. The rainbow was given as a promise to never destroy the earth by flood again. The elite have perverted it and given it to a generation. Each generation is given an opposing symbol to the previous one to create generation gaps. The symbol for the subconscious mind is a black square, like when you graduate, graduation cap. A black cube is the symbol for the collective subconscious, groupthink. In Mecca, they walk around and around the black cube. In Jerusalem, they strap it to their foreheads, bob back and forth while chanting. In the UN, the black cube is the only item in their religion's meditation room. The whole world just sits in front of a black cube television for hours in a hypnotic trance while millions of perverted symbols are being projected into their subconscious minds, all completely unawares. The storyline that you're watching on television is telling you one story. It's keeping you in a trance. It's keeping you entertained. But the symbolism that's being fed to you is complete. It's a completely different narrative, a different storyline that your subconscious is getting. No, you were not born that way, and God did not create you that way. Disney and Cartoon Network subliminally programmed you to become that way before you ever hit puberty. Symbolism speaking. You know, this has been going on since they invented television. It's called marketing. This is why all the corporations get these logos, these symbols, because there's power in that symbol. As a matter of fact, in the New Testament, they translate, one of the translations for the word love and for the word word is logo. And out of the Greek, it means power. It's symbol. A word is a set of symbols. But our alphabets are just freaking spells. So the left was using spells and an upside down flag and to promote root chakra groupthink, and they pitted it against the meme lords on the right that were working. They had their American dream go back to sleep message, which was what the ears wanted to hear. But at the same time, online, you had, believe it or not, all these kids, these young adults and these kids that were making these memes that in their mind, in their conscious mind, to them it was just humor. It was just art and humor because they're creative. It was their creative force, the muse, and they went with it. And it pushed the black cube to the right. Because the meme can't left. The left can't meme. They have no humor in the woke culture. Humor is offensive to somebody, so you can't do it. They're the emotion police. And so they really cut their own throats there because they can't meme. They're a destructive force. You're either destructive or creative. The left has been using the destructive fear, root chakra energy. It's a dark energy. But the right has been using what I call symbolism. And again, put everybody back to sleep with this American dream. We need to ditch the American dream. We need the truth. We don't need a dream. We need a reality check on how this place works. And that it's a groupthink black box. And you've even been lied to about the black box. Oh, it's Saturn. It's evil. It's the goat. They've given you evil for good and good for evil. The knife is neither good nor evil. It's what you do with it. The symbol is neither good nor evil. It's what you do with it. That's why it's called the tree of knowledge of good and evil, which is what the Bible is. I keep telling you, there's two stories in the New Testament. There's two. There's two Jesuses. One's good, one's evil. One is telling you, this is my body and this is my blood. Drink of it, eat of it. One side understands that's symbolic and spiritual. The other side are literally doing it. They do these sacrifices, they drink the blood, they eat the flesh. It's good and evil. It's not what it is, it's what you're doing with it. All right. You will know them by their fruits. The symbol of an apple tree is its fruit, an apple. So you will know them by their symbols. And I've said this so many times. You need to get all corporate logos off your person and your property, because you know not what entities you invoke, evoke, or provoke. And I don't even know what to tell you people with tattoos. That this is the way this place works. And even Prince, he changed his name to a symbol. He was telling you a truth. And he paid for it with his life. He fought back the only way he knew how. And to take back his crown, his princely crown, he had to sacrifice the name and identify with the symbols that related to his natal chart. They are alchemical and astrological symbols. They found an old text, a bunch of old text, and a lot of things. And allegedly, AI's been helping them translate them. Well, they found this one text. It's supposed to be one of the oldest ever that came out of some library in Tibet, where it's supposed to be the biggest library in the world of ancient knowledge. And what they discovered was all of the texts that they've deciphered so far talked about one thing, and that's consciousness. And then they found this other one in this pile that they translated, and it took AI to do it, but AI realized it was all a set of symbols of what today we would call chemistry or alchemy. It was the alchemical table of elements symbolically over our periodic table of elements, which is what I've been telling you. It's the way this place works. We're in Pisces, which is a group think age. And you have to overcome this age. You have to come out of the water and into the air. To come out of the water, Pisces, and into the air, Aquarius, requires individualism. You have sovereignty. Not freedom, not liberty, sovereignty. To have your own corona, your own crown on your head, standing upright, sovereign, not just a sovereign citizen, a sovereign sentient being. Some people are not affected by symbolism. When you see how the rabbit, it comes out of the hat, when you know how the trick's done, it don't work anymore. When you see the symbols for what they are, then you can get your subconscious mind and your conscious mind on the same page. Now, this is what I've been talking about with you people who are born with Pluto and Virgo. And there's a few of you that are born with Pluto at the end of Leo. That's my group. I'm born with I'm at the last of the boomers, the first of Generation X. I'm right there on the line. And what occurs with each generation is that collective. It's an energy that we haul. Now, I've told you that they shut Generation X down. They were told to sit down and shut up, and they did. They were neglected by their parents. They had nobody to watch over them. Hell, we just run amok once we moved to the city. We just did what we wanted to do. They didn't care what we did. When the street lights come on, you come in.
We didn't have babysitters or nannies anymore, and we were pretty much on our own and raised ourselves. But we all got along. We didn't have all the chaos that we have now. And we experimented, and we learned life through experience. It was live and learn, and that's what we did. But now, just now, Generation X is not getting its voice back. It's finally getting its symbols. In a way, the universe is kind of setting itself right, because the powers that be in media took over, shut Generation X down, which their time is now. The boomers need to move out of the way. It's Generation X's time. But what the boomers did to stay in power is tell Generation X to shut up, and they went and give the microphone, the collective narrative, to the woke generation that shouldn't be in power for another 40 years. That's what happened. That's how the narrative got shifted. But the meme lords took over this time. And it's what they do. It's that creative force that's going to, how do you say it? Create tomorrow. It's where we're going. Whatever they do. If you're a creative person, that's why I'm trying to correct the symbolism. Because they're so powerful that if you put the wrong symbol out there, it can take us to hell and chaos. But if you put the right symbols out there, Christ said, if I be lifted up, I will draw all men unto me. And that the good news of this gospel would be preached in all the world, and then the end will be. But you know what? We've never got that good news, because we've got it's like the American dream. We got this Christian dream of what Jesus is, because we're all asleep, because we don't understand. It was talking in symbolism. And if you don't know the symbolism, if you've never been taught the symbolism, then how do you understand it? It's a language that has been denied us. The average people, you do not get a liberal arts education. I gave myself one. And I'm trying to condense it as much as possible, dumb it down, because I know we're all beginners, and you have to start this teaching it and learning it like a kindergartner. You got to start with your fat pencils and your crayons before you can, it really just clicks for you, because it can come off as confusing, because there's a whole set of alchemical symbols and a whole set of astrological symbols, but they are used. These same symbols have been used, at least to me, even before the flood. Kelly's getting mad. All right, I need to pause here and get me a drink anyway. Back to the Gen Xers now, because you were born, the beginning of Gen X is when Pluto and Virgo, Uranus, your conscious mind, and Pluto, your subconscious mind, that black box, moved into Virgo. That was the beginning of Gen X. And that means your subconscious mind and your conscious mind were the same. And I think for that reason, the symbology didn't really work on you. Also, the tail end of the boomers, which is me, we had Pluto and Uranus both in Leo. So our subconscious mind and our conscious mind was the same. So the symbolism really didn't, marketing, you got something because you were interested and liked in it. It wasn't, we weren't so much as impulse buyers as the future generations. They became very root chakra, very materialistic, very identity on the outside. When Generation X was just kind of free. It was no authority over us. We pretty much did what we wanted to do. It was very creative, very artistic. But now everything's been co-opted. To me, even what's going on the internet, I watched both sides of the aisle. Both sides of the aisle, what I call propaganda accounts and fake accounts came in pushing the narrative on both sides. And these channels were, hear me, they were not political channels. They're just part of the collective. But they were subtly manipulating it from both sides. And so it didn't matter, like these Diddy parties and Epstein thing. They went in, and the channels that were picking up a big crowd that had a lot of followers, they bought them off. They compromised them, just like they did. I watched big channels and their content suddenly changed. Suddenly their narrative shifted. They became something other than what they started as. Let's put it that way. And I saw what was happening. Oh, goodness, they're doing it here now. And that's what this egregore, this thing does. These people behind this control is they want to control that black rock, that black box, because they know what it is and what it does. It's the creative force here. And it can also be a destructive force here. So they use it to their advantage. And they really don't have to do anything but just pump your head with a bunch of symbolism, throw a little bit of rhetoric or what I call shock trauma behind it, which was what 9/11 was about. Because trauma embeds itself because of the adrenaline rush and the shock. It embeds itself in your memory and in the collective. It embedded itself. So it created a retaliation of war, safety, security, scared, fear, root chakra. And then they went, hear me. 9/11 set off the root chakra ritual. And it did it with Mars in Aries, which is war, rage, emotions, fear. And then they flipped it to feminine. Still using Mars. They flipped it from Aries to Scorpio. Both ruled by Mars. Scorpio is sexuality. Sexuality. So now you got motions and sexuality. And it's ruling them. Have you seen the freakouts of this party of love and peace and inclusiveness and tolerance? And they've lost their freaking minds. These women shaving their heads, oh my. Oh my. When the shock wears off, they're going to cry. But here's what's happening with a lot of them. Is first you go into denial. You go into this denial, this rage, this anger. Then you get depressed. It's a cycle. To me, this election, actually everything that's been going on since my birth, but especially since 9/11, has been a massive psyop on both sides. But what it's doing is it is taking us on an alchemical process. It doesn't have a choice. They set it in motion. This is just the way this place works. And it's the dance of the seven veils. And it's hard when your paradigm is torn down. When their dream of a female American president didn't manifest, they lost their freaking minds. But that's just step one. It's good. They needed that. They needed to be shocked into reality. There is no better way to destroy someone than to get their hopes up before you pull the rug out from under them. And that's what happened. So whether it was intentional or not, it's just the way things work. Now, last time, in 2020, they pulled the rug out. They set the right up to thinking Trump was just going to walk through 8 more years, and they pulled the rug out from them. They invented 20 million voters that just didn't show up this time. I told you it was a coup. But I'm seeing it. I'm starting to wonder more and more, are we not being pushed into this to make not just Americans, but humanity really wake the fuck up? Because the whole world, really, for quite a while, has been controlled by this lie called the American dream. And it never was real. And it's not real now, and it's not going to be real tomorrow. But I tell you what is real. Tomorrow is real, and tomorrow is coming. And we can make it whatever we want to make it. And we can do this starting with ourselves and the symbolism we use and expose ourselves to in our lifetimes. That's why I love the movie Branded, because it ended with marketing dead. Because that's the root of that shit. And it's all about money. Advertising and marketing fund the media. The big corporations they have a big portion of their budget set aside for advertising. It goes to these companies, and I take you back to advertising now. Growing up in Generation X, we had Bewitched. It come on the TV every day. And they were literally sitting there telling us that the advertisers had witches. Their wives were witches. And they were casting spells so that this corporation could sell that shit. In Branded, they showed you the same thing. Max von Sydow played a character that when his spell ran out, he just poof disappeared into a puff of smoke and left you with the symbolism of Mercury and Virgo that you think is Lucifer, that they've lied to you who it is, what energy it is. They lied about everything. But if you learn the proper symbolism and you learn that alchemical magic wheel in the sky called the zodiac, then you can see it all. Then you're on that observation platform standing above it. You can look down on it, not be a part of it. And that's how you really learn here, when you see how this place works. And if you want to participate in it, there's nothing wrong with that either. It's all just an experience, no matter which side you're on. When we leave this place, we're not even going to remember any of this. It's nothing. When you step out of your body, when I drowned it in that swimming pool, I didn't give a shit that my body was struggling for its life and drowning. It was just like dirty clothes to me. When you have that near-death experience where you relive your whole life, nothing matters. Not what religion you were, not what sins you committed, unless it harmed someone else. It's the harm you caused others, what you did, and what you failed to do, neglect. Did you really, what it boils down to is, did you make this person smile, or did you make them cry? That's all it is. Your sin is how you affect other people. So, in a way, the left is on the right track. That it is about other people's feelings. But they're doing it from the wrong chakra, with the wrong energy, and the wrong message. Because it's not one of inclusivity. It's one of separation. It's one of hate. It's one of anger. It's one of root chakra. It doesn't have shit to do with the heart or shit to do with the crown. What they're calling love is just desire. That's not love. Love is a giving thing. It's a verb. It's not a feeling. It's not an adjective. I love you. That's an adjective. To just say it is just an adjective. To do it, to love, is to give unconditionally, expecting nothing in return. Just coming from your heart. That's storing up your treasures in heaven. That's karma. When I tell you to go commit a random act of kindness, if you do it from a point of, well, if I do this now, it's going to help me later kind of thing, which is what I'm telling you, then I'm kind of doing you a disservice, because it needs to come from the heart. You need to do it because that's who you are. You're that kind person. That in the face of adversity, you remain calm and loving. Don't react. You're supposed to have action, not a reaction. You're supposed to stop, think, then act. Which the left is all action. It's just reaction. It's just an emotional triggered reaction. But it's good that they got the rug pulled out from under them. Because now they're in a situation for the next 4 years to either they're going to have to wake up, smell the coffee, and get a grip on their own reality and identity. A sovereign one instead of this collective one they've been in, because they don't know who they are. They don't have a sovereign identity. The whole point is to get out of the black box, to get out of the cube. How do you do that? You learn how it works. Then you can start using it for your own benefit. You put the symbols that empower you in your home and in your life, what you want to manifest. But if you don't know what them symbols mean and how to properly use them, which 99% of the information out there is false and perverted, then you're just casting evil spells upon yourself. And that's what scares me the most, which is what's been going on. It's the misuse of them. Knowledge without understanding is a dangerous thing. And we got a lot of people out there with a lot of knowledge, but they don't understand that knowledge. And it's becoming more destructive than it is creative. And that's my post-election rant. I'm going to cut it here. I've had a long week. I'm exhausted right now. I need a few hours sleep. Miss Margie, who y'all all know, our in-house regression therapist, she's coming to babysit Kelly. I am leaving Saturday morning to go get my brother and bring him back here with me. And she's going to take care of Kelly, so I've got to get everything in order to make all this go down. All right, I appreciate you people a bunch. And from your heart, when you look at these people doing these acts of kindness from them, remember this, that God loves us through each other. That kindness is from the God in you to the God in them. Not the person that you see and judge with your eyes, but that sentient living being in there. And that's how the transaction needs to be done. One kindness to another. And it can become contagious doing it with unconditional love. All right, people. Kelly's demanding my service, for lack of a more appropriate word. And if my videos have helped you, please help me keep them coming to you. I really appreciate those who stepped up and made a donation on my last video. I went from 1 and 2 all the way to 6. I'm overwhelmed, grateful, more than you can know. And you are on my grateful list, which actually I'm going to get here to shortly before I go to sleep. I love y'all bunches. See you on the next one.